How's it going, everyone? It's OZ again. I promised you in my last video I was going to show you how I battle tank. So I'm going to show you my setup and show you what I do. Um, First things first, let's go and show you my gear. I am not running any DPS gear. I am 100% tank. I want all that survivability. Now, I am putting some DPS white mods in because they just really ultimately aren't hurting me at all by using DPS mods. But I am going full on tank gear for this. As you can see, all tank. All tank and OP items, I should say. So the OP items help with the might and everything. Um, I am using Mystic Symbol of the Seven currently. Um, What this does is it increases your defense 5% for each enemy within 5 yards for a maximum of 20%. Um, that's what I'm currently doing. I have a couple of other tank arts I could use, but this one seems to be doing me pretty well, so I'm going to stick with it for now. Of course, I'm using Razor. Um, Razor is working out extremely well for a fire tank. Um, Puts out tons of damage and it's giving me tons of extra healing. Um, so I'm really liking that. It's helping me max out my resto, which is good. This is the newest addition to my battle tanking setup. And I know what a lot of you are going to say. Oh, look at, he's running a DPS artifact. But, partially true. I'm also running an artifact that gives me a health, gives me power, gives me restoration, gives me might. So it's giving me multiple stats, which I love. But what it's doing and why this helps you as a fire tank particularly is because fire tanks rely on big healing. So it's giving me a 20% critical chance and 30% critical magnitude on all heals and all damage. So not as only is that helping me put out more damage and getting more crits, but it's giving me bigger burst heals. So since I've added this in, my health stays up a whole lot better. So believe it or not, this is working out really well as a tank. Um, I'm running Red Tornado. It gives you that big 25% might boost, and it's doing redistribution. So this works really good for my battle tanking setup. And I'm just not having a problem with survivability with these older style arts, to be honest with you. Like more traditional arts, like manacles and everything. I know people usually run those. And I do have some of that as a backup if I need it. If B&E was to come back out right now, I don't know if I'd run the same setup. I'm probably pretty close though. I might go for Distal to get that extra health to my group members. Um, Especially giving that to the troll will give him more health, which will give me a bigger boost and give DPS a bigger boost. And then, last but not least, my second favorite art now, Pages. Pages boosts all your stats. Every role should be running it, in my opinion. Um, the amount of stats it gives you, especially as a fire tank, where I'm getting resto, I'm getting might, I'm getting all the stats I need, defense, um, dominance. This is huge for a tank. This is huge for a healer. This is huge for a DPS. Troll, you'll have to ask a troll. I don't really troll very much. I haven't trolled in years, guys. Maybe someday. But that's my art setup. As you can see, I'm all tank. I'm all tank all day long. I am running nitro soders, and I am running um, a DPS trinket because I just don't really need the tank stuff. If I ever thought I needed it, I would go get it and I would run it. But right now the tank gear and my rotation and what I'm using as arts is more than enough. It's easily enough. So with that, that's giving me. I'm currently sitting at about 240 or 2.4 million health. Um, 866,000 power. Power isn't really too much of an issue as long as you got a halfway decent troll, but there's ways to get around that. My defense is at 768,000. My might's only at 562. Now, this is going to get boosted quite a bit with Red Tornado, with Book, um, with the cola, my might's not going to be small. It's not going to be anywhere near like might on my nature healer or my nature DPS. And last but not least, I've got 284,000 dominance. I still have quite a bit of ways to go on stats because I'm only 508 CR on my tank. So 517. That's I mean, that's a lot of extra stats I got coming to me. That's 9 CR worth of stats still coming to me. So my tank's only going to get stronger here. Allies. I'm running Constantine in this to get the 15% might boost, and his circle will help with crowd control. They can't just come running in on me. It kind of pushes them back, and then I could suck them in, and then they'll get pushed back out. I know DPS don't always love that, but sometimes it's about me surviving. And I just don't have that much better of an option right now. I really, I could run one of these two guys in that, but I want their support abilities. Um, with Mr. Freeze, I'm running Chilling Vengeance, where when I pop a shield, I get a Snow Devil up to 3 Snow Devils. Those Snow Devils are doing a decent amount of damage just in the background. And just for me popping a shield, I don't really have to change anything. I don't have to do anything. And then Superboy, I'm running Rebel Rage, because of course your health is going to change 3 times, especially as a tank. So I'm getting that little extra 5% might boost there as well. Because you get up to 5 stacks at 1% apiece, that's 5% more. I'm good with that for right now. That may change if we ever get a iconic that puts out poisons. This will get swapped out for Poison Ivy because then I'm going to get that much bigger might boost, and I'll be running Poison Ivy, and then that's going to be scary damage there. Now we'll get to the rotate. Well, let's get to skill points first. So skill points, I only have 566. I forgot to add some back in. So I only got 566 on my tank, which is much less than my main, but it's enough to get me to go around the horn. I am going super powered for the power regen and the might. Then, of course, I'm going to get all my crits for healing and DPS. Super important. Crits are always important, guys. And then I'm going to put at least 100 here, at least 100 here, at least 100 here, and at least 100 here. I can use all these stats as a fire tank. And, everything after 100 is diminishing returns, and really don't start to see a good, healthy increase on those diminishing returns until you get past the 200 point skill point mark in any given tree. So if I wanted my resto to really jump, that 2 to 300 to 400 to 440 is going to give you a bigger jump. But that 100 skill points from 100 to 200, huge diminishing returns. You're not seeing nearly as much. So I split them all up, so I get stronger shields. I get more health, I get more might, and I get enough resto, and it's working out really well for me. And then I'm just throwing the extras and other things. I do go get all my breakout stuff. Every little bit helps, is the way I look at it, and I have the skill points to spare. And then, of course, I'm just getting my one. I don't use my weapon at all, guys. I almost never use my weapon. I don't do it as a healer, and I don't do it as a tank. I am a might guy all day long, and probably always will be. Loadout. Here is my loadout. So, of course, I'm going to have engulf for my directional pull, so I can be more directed and pull from further away, as you see in a lot of the raids. I'm running Inferno. This is a recent change. I had Burning Determination in there, and I'm just finding I really don't need it. It doesn't really give me any extra damage, and the heals are okay-ish. But I'm getting heals for so many other sources that I didn't really need this. So I'm like, well, let's put this in, and then I can clip it with these two. And this is going to give you a dot. This is going to give you a dot. And as you start getting hit, that's going to reflect damage back at them. Burns enemies, making them vulnerable to burning effects. Nearby enemies that attack you will be burned, taking damage over time. So I'm getting damage from these. It's not super great, but every little bit helps. And this is kind of my tanking setup here, even though this isn't. I just clip this with all of this. So when I switch over, unless I need this, I'm just going to clip all of these. And you might go, except for this last shield, I'll save that secondary. You might go, well, why are you clipping all the heals if you're putting up a shield? First of all, this shield only absorbs about 35%, and I want heals to proc more than I want a shield because heal procking causes Razor to proc more often. And this is where DPS are getting this wrong. They're running Razor, but they're not running anything to heal themselves and reduce that cooldown. That's a mistake, in my opinion. Run those heals, guys. And you should, because Razor is probably the hardest hitting thing in the game right now. Harder than Omega. Yes, it is harder than Omega. Don't believe me, go do the testing. I did the testing and Omega doesn't even come close. And you're procking Razor, if you're healing, you're procking Razor about as often as you're procking Omega. Not quite as much, but Omega doesn't hit nearly as hard as Razor. Go do your testing, guys. You'll see. Um, so I'm using this for extra heal. This is a nice little chunky heal that I'm getting and just helps me not have to worry about that portion. This is giving me healing. That is giving me a little bit of shielding. Um, Another move I made is putting Backdraft down here with most of my DPS stuff. Now this is half DPS, half healing, and kind of tanking. So this is kind of a hybrid, but it is doing tons of damage on this loadout tray. And since I moved this down here where it's getting used more often, I'm getting much better healing results because this can give you a big, giant, chunky heal. And it does halfway decent damage. So, um, part of the reason I have it set up this way is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the fray. I'm going to pull them in with Backdraft. I'm going to knock them back out with Empowering Pulse. I'm going to pull them back in with Magma Vortex. And then I'm going to hit them with Spore Pod. And then I'm going to, while they're still being juggled, I'm going to start my rotation on Hope Wave. And I've gotten a lot of success at not getting knocked out of Hope Wave. Hope Wave is a little on the slow side. It gives you a nice big heal at the end. So if you can make it to the end, you're going to get a heal and you're going to get all that damage. Um, but you do get knocked out of it quite a bit. So I try to set my rotation up. So it basically, this comes after I've got them juggled and they're trying to recover. And usually by the time they recover, I'm on the second animation and I'm clipping the third animation with something else. Something else will come up, or I'll switch trays and come back up here and hit this, or I'll hit this shield. Um, a lot of times I'm hitting this white shield just to clip with, just to clip this. Um, if it's not looking like I'm in any danger, then I'll just, if I don't have a power up, I might even wait for it to come up if I don't want to switch over to clip. And then another little expert move you could do, I don't know if it's expert, but it just makes common sense. Um, so I knock them in with, or pull them in with this, knock them out with that, pull them back in. I'll hit them with this, and or if this is available, I'm going to hit them with that. And then I'll hit them with that. So after I've sucked them all in, I hit them with this, and I just hit everything that's around you. And a lot of times I'm finding I'll hit them with this and get a proc out of Razor almost immediately. So I don't know why that is, but it seems to be happening quite a bit. Either I get a proc right away or a proc pretty soon after that. So that's kind of my thinking on my tank rotation. It is very much a rotation. I'm going to attach a little bit of gameplay from my last video on this so you can kind of see how I'm doing that rotation um, with the bunch of ads and close. And unfortunately, some of it's laggy, but you'll get the gist of it, and you'll kind of see how my rotation kind of keeps ads bouncing around and allows me to get all my stuff off. And if I can get all my stuff off, I can get some of these off, I'm going to be doing lots of damage and I'm going to be doing lots of healing. And you'll see it. I'll come in, I'll pull them out, I'll knock them out, I'll pull them back in, knock them out. Then I'm going into my rotation. Just like that. Not even hard. And even this bolt does halfway decent damage. So if I switch trays and it's just not ready, sometimes I'll just do this a couple times, go right back in it, knock them out, pull them back in, or pull them in, knock them back out. So you'll kind of see this in the raid. And this is how I'm putting up 1,000,000,000 damage. And usually beating the healer as well and heals out. Because I'm doing a ton of healing to myself. And I'm also doing a ton of healing to everybody. This heals everybody. So if I've got any melee DPS here, they're going to get those heals. If they die, they die. That's on them. Knock them out, pull them back in. Hit them with that. And it's just wash, rinse, repeat, guys. And don't pay attention to the parse on tank. I'm not getting great parses here. I'm not getting great parses on this. Where I am getting great parses is in the content itself. This is where sometimes the parser can actually be very misleading. Very misleading. Because I'm not getting parses anywhere near I get on my DPS. But I'm putting up DPS numbers. Well, trust me when I tell you that. I've ran against a couple of good DPSs. I'm not going to name any names. They did beat me, but they're not obliterating either. They're not even coming close to obliterating. The last quote unquote good DPS that I ran against, um, he beat me by 100 million, but I'm the tank, and I'm doing my job, and I'm right behind him there. 100 million is not that much. On my DPS, I can do 100 million in less than 10 seconds. So, well, and understand that not all of this is going to show up in a parse here. Reflect damage from this isn't showing up. The damage from my other shield, what's the name of that shield? Um, Immolation. The damage from Immolation's not showing up there because it really doesn't give out the damage until you start getting hit by the ad. So can't always pay attention to parses, guys. Also, don't underestimate Red Tornado. That Red Tornado's hitting decent. And you're not doing anything to get it. So let's go back up here and let's see if I can find Red Tornado for you. There's the hits from Equilibrium there. Look at that, 1.2 million, and that's not even like really getting a good proc off of it. I've seen much higher on my tank. Nowhere near my DPS. My DPS hits horde. But you can see I'm getting a lot of damage off of one Equilibrium proc is kind of nuts. And look, here's another Equilibrium proc. It's kind of nuts. Inferno, Inferno, Inferno. So I must have passed up the Red Tornado proc. But I'm seeing Red Tornado procs for 300 to 400,000 per ad. So you think about that, and you're surrounded by ads. And from what I can tell, it procs white too. Sometimes kind of hard to see or differentiate from Equilibrium. So just know when you're getting that proc off of Red Tornado, it's hitting for a decent amount. It is not a small amount. So when you see that well, that was Equilibrium. When you see that redistribution wave go out, just know that's hitting for a good 300 to 400 per ad. And for not doing anything except staying in your rotation, there it was. Let's see if I can find it quick. Hopefully it doesn't go away. I've got so many dots up that usually sometimes it's hard to find. Spore pod. Yeah, I think we already missed it. Oh, look at those snow double You can see some of that damage from Snow Devil there. Snow Devil, Following Pulse. Unfortunately, guys, I'm not catching the redistribution wave from Red Tornado. I could probably if I just sat here. I don't want the video to be too long. If I just sit here and heal, it will eventually proc it. There's an equilibrium. We're looking for. There it is. Now, if we go back down, we should have it. Red Tornado redistribution module 354, 354. As you can see, it hits even for the same amount, but I've seen it go into the 400,000s, and um, I'm not sure what I'm getting in the raid, but I know I've seen a few go 5 and 600,000 in a raid because it can. Um, no, that one can't be buffed, but I have seen it go 500,000 before. So don't sleep on that damage. Um, Not to mention the might boost it gives you. So with that, guys, I will bid you farewell. If you have any questions, post them down below. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good garbage, and I'll keep trying to feed you guys the good information. OZ out.